Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. The Wildlife Department has stocked rainbow trout here at the Lower Mountain Fork River for more than 30 years. And over those decades, a lot of research has given biologists tremendous insight on this unique species. Today, fisheries and biologists are embarking on yet another study, and this time they're asking for anglers to help them. They're tagging these hatchery-raised trout and asking anglers who catch one to report the details about the catch. Now, biologists are hoping to learn more about how far, when, and why fish move up in the river. Ultimately, this will help our biologists make wise, effective management decisions. A wildlife department that continuously works to make our resources and opportunities some of the best in the nation. Just another reason to love Oklahoma and the adventures that await you.
As long as I can remember, I've always been drawn to archery, and in that, always traditional archery ever since I was a little kid. I don't know exactly where it started, but I know, like, you know, with superheroes, whether it was watching Legolas on Lord of the Rings or Robin Hood, like that just always, you know, really drew me in, and so I've just always loved that form of archery. My name's Caleb Fleece, and on October 1st, opening day, I was able to harvest an Oklahoma black bear with a primitive bow and arrow, stone tip as well. I believe this is important because as far as we know, talking to wildlife department officials and biologists, this is the first primitive black bear killed in Oklahoma since Native Americans.
I'm so glad I made a good shot on that bear. I'm so glad that was a perfect shot. That's a good bear too. That was an amazing hunt. Oh my goodness.
I'm using a stone point that's made out of obsidian, and there's been a few bear harvests in Oklahoma with traditional bows. Most of those will be, you know, laminate wood and fiberglass bows and carbon arrows, and there's been a few wood arrows, but this is the first documented that we know of primitive bow and primitive arrow. So, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into flint knapping a stone point, and they can be very effective, but there's a lot of work that goes into it, especially if you're willing to do everything yourself from A to Z. And, you know, that's just one more step in the process that you have to learn, and I would say it's the toughest. So that's been the biggest, you know, journey for me as far as learning to build my own primitive equipment. So I'm able to do everything from start to finish here. I'm able to harvest wood on this property that my family owns and I live on. And then I have a workshop behind us here that I'm able to do everything from flint knapping to bow building to arrow fletching. So everything, you know, I can do right here in the comfort of my own home. I go and I cut these Osage orange trees down and I split them. They have to be hand split, so that way a hand split will follow the grain when you drive those wedges in. And so with Osage, you need to follow the grain. After you do that, you'll seal the back and the ends, and you'll let this wood dry for at least 2 years, preferably 3 or 4. Before you can start making a bow, you actually have to go to the end of your stave, and you want to go beneath the sapwood, and you want to start at one growth ring. You preferably pick a little thicker one, and you need to carve perfectly between that growth ring the whole way down the piece of wood. You can't dive into the next piece if you do that. If I was to make it this far down and dive into the next piece, you'd have to start over. Your bow would break right there. When we were talking about self bows, we were talking about a bow carved out of one piece of wood. It doesn't have any, laminates. There's no performance enhancing. It's a bent over stick in the purest form. This is all one growth ring. the whole way down. There's a few little bitty pieces of the growth ring above, but I'll just scrape those off when I'm getting ready to make the bow. Every single self bow is different. You're taking a curvy, snaky piece of wood. It might have some knots, it might have some imperfections, but if you're willing to work with that piece of wood, you can make something, you know, really pretty out of it, and something functional too. So it's kind of like it's got its own personality. There's no two self bows that are the same. This bow is profiled, and I've started removing wood off the back side, and I've actually got this floor tillered, so it's starting to bend on its own. This is a bow that's almost finished, and the limbs are bending perfectly. I've got this down to the desired draw weight, and I just glued on the snake skin. I'm gonna let it dry another day or two, and then I'll trim off the edges and finish sanding this, and we'll put some sealer on it. If he wants a leather grip, I'll put a grip on it for him. But this bow is pretty much done. All the wood removal is done other than finish sanding. So there's a lot of different woods you can use. You could use hickory, you could use ash. I'm using Osage, and if you talk to most bowyers in Oklahoma, Osage, orange, bow dart is the most, you know, it's just the best wood to work with. It's got the best performance. It takes a little bit more care to make a bow out of it. There's some rules you have to follow with Osage, but when you take the time to follow those, Osage will just build a really long-lasting bow that has great cast, great performance. Before I start bending this bow, I have it on this jig, and basically what this jig is doing, it's acting as like a separate set of hands, and it will draw that bow for me. So I can pull on the string through a pulley system and look back and really get a good eye of how the limbs are bending, because I want them to bend evenly with each other, and I want them bending evenly throughout. If one area was bending too much, it would be considered a hinge, because it would be a weak spot and it'd bend too much, and that spot could stress and break. So it's a real slow process. You want to take your time and just make sure you're getting it to bend evenly. I've drawn these lines as a good guide, because when I want to start, I want to make sure they're pretty well flat, because you don't want to start drawing the bow. That won't give you an accurate reading. So I'll move this leather around and situate it in a way that looks pretty good. Then I'll take my string and put it on each end. This bow still has a decent amount of wood to be removed, so I'm using this string to pull on it. It's not under any tension. As it gets closer, I'll put a shorter string on that bow that forces it to bend a lot more. I've got a scale right here and a measuring stick, so it tells me, say I've got a 26-inch draw. If I want my bow to be 55 pounds at my draw length, I will keep pulling it slowly, working on it, and keeping that draw weight the whole time at 55 pounds. And slowly, as I keep removing wood, the distance at which it's 25 will increase. So I want it to show 55 pounds when I'm pulling to 26 inches. And this jig will really, you know, help me slowly get to that weight. You can see the limbs exercising here. They're bending pretty evenly right now. I've got a flat spot right here, so I want to remove some wood right there. So I can take a pencil, I'll remember right now, but I'll take this limb, and I'll do 15, 20 scrapes. You don't want to do too many, because you can remove wood in a hurry, and next thing you know, you made a weak spot in that area. So I get on this. It's called my shave horse. There's a lot of different ways to make one. I just use a vise. And this area right here is where it's stiff. So I take the scraper, and you can see that wood just coming off. This side's more aggressive, and it will really pull these big curls. So that's about how many scrapes I want to give this piece of wood. And now I'm going to put it back on the tillering tree and check. And this is a long process of from here to the tillering tree. I spend a lot of time bouncing between these two jigs until I get these limbs bending evenly. This one is, this bow is finished as far as tillering goes. I'll show you what it looks like when it bends. Normally I would till it with the string on it, but I'm going to wait to trim the snake skin until it gets a little bit more dry before I do anything like that. But this should have a nice, pretty bend to show you. I would not be where I'm at as far as, you know, being able to build my own bows if it wasn't for OJAM. OJAM is the Oklahoma Self-Bow Society's event that they put on. It's called the Oklahoma Self-Bow Jamboree. They just call it OJAM for short. It takes place usually in the Stillwater area. It's always during spring break. They have different demonstrations from flint knapping to harvesting Osage to really, you can start on the first day, and by the last day, if you're willing to work, you should leave OJAM with a shooting bow, like a proper bow. And there's just a whole bunch of people there just wanting to help pass on this knowledge and, you know, just keep this art form alive. If you want to learn to build, I recommend going to OJAM. That's the best place to learn. It's local, it's you know, cost friendly, and it's great to bring the kids to. You can start learning online. There's plenty of videos, and there's a lot of self-teaching along the way, but we have too many great opportunities here in Oklahoma to learn. This is obsidian, and this is obsidian, which is, you know, volcanic glass. And you can get it in all different colors. This is a real pretty color. This is a black glass, and you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually translucent when you get it thin enough. And this is a point that is one of my backup points. I could have used this one this year if I needed to. It's right at 7/8. It's 60 grains. These are some of the finger tabs I make. This is cordovan leather. It's horse leather. It's from Italy. I wanted to be able to make a wood tab that would match people's bows. You know, there's a lot of leather and metal tabs out there, but nothing with wood. So I started making these wood plate tabs. This would be the first bow I built at OJAM. I believe it was 2017 or 2018 was my first year there. This is my most recent bow. This is a bow I made specifically for bear hunting this year. I carved in a little bear-shaped paw print and inlaid that with actual crushed turquoise. The back has got some copperhead skin on it. These were gifted to me from a friend in Stillwater. And I also did some polka dots to match the crushed turquoise on the side. The grip is beaver tail again, and the shelf is as well, because it was really important to me on this bow. Everything pushing that arrow, I wanted to be just made out of natural materials. So the shelf didn't have any Velcro, and the string is actually flax fiber. So this would be just 100% flax fiber linen thread. And that's what I twisted the bowstring out of. And I just used beeswax to help keep it twisted up and help keep it from fraying. These are made out of Douglas fir. They're 5/16 is the diameter. And then this is the one I killed the Oklahoma bear with. I busted a corner off of it, but you know, going through big bear ribs and lodging into the offside ribs, it held up really well. It's still sharp. The edges are still sharp. So you know, I've really been impressed with obsidian. There's so many different aspects of it to me that are exciting and rewarding. One is just the weapon is so limiting, you have to get close. And you know, there's an old phrase in bow hunting, it's about how close, not about how far. How close can you get to that animal? Because that requires skill, patience, you know, just dedication to make those moments happen. But also when you've built and spent this time on this equipment, you know, it just means a little bit more to you than something you just go buy at the store. You're really invested in your equipment, and when it all comes together, it's the most rewarding experience I could ever imagine in hunting.
Wow. That's amazing. I cannot believe that. I'm gonna call my wife.
Stormy, he is a registered quarter horse. He's 21 years old. I've had him since he was 4. He's been all over the United States, or western United States. He packs, he rides, he does it all. Probably one of the best horses I've ever owned. It's just kind of I would say more of a dying art. It's a little bit of trouble for some people. I don't see it much as trouble. But it's just another tool. It gets you into places that you could drive to probably, but driving in would be a little bit noisy, and sometimes it's good to be a little sneaky, so it works pretty good. It takes me back to my roots. It's actually a lot of fun. You can cover a lot of ground that you couldn't otherwise in a vehicle. Gives me a chance to keep these horses in shape, and you know, the element of surprise sometimes is pretty good. So. Get him level here where I'm just above him and to make it a little easier to get on. There we go. There we go. Waterfowl season is a good time to check hunters off horseback. This time of year, I'll probably start riding a little bit at night because it's so hot. And then most of the activity here is going to be in the nighttime. People catching frogs, fishing, things like that. So. I still work the same type of work I've always worked. I work a lot of nights. It's been the greatest career a guy could ever have. You know, it's got ups and downs, but like anything else. But it's just you just go with the flow.
She used to hunt this part of the country down in here. My grandfather and grandmother's home game. Okay.
Got him, didn't it?
Yeah.
basically, even the loss of the habitat on the sides of the riverbed and out in the field where we still have the gnaw. Are you that fast a trap shooter?
See where he fell?
Yeah, I see him. We'll mark him down in the brush there.
Is that we got water over there?
Well, we hope today's stories remind you that Oklahoma is a perfect place to explore. So no matter how you choose to enjoy our state's incredible natural world, remember, your adventure starts with Outdoor Oklahoma. Outdoor Oklahoma is produced by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation and is proud to serve and be funded entirely by sportsmen and women and outdoor enthusiasts who love and appreciate all things wild in the great state of Oklahoma.